Hello, we're back. Second episode. You guys obviously liked the first one enough that, yes, the powers that be have greenlit the second episode. Who knows? We might even get to 3 or 4. We are testing out a title this week as opposed to Unnamed Podcast. The title, as suggested by Jeremy, is Geek Talk. I'm not sure how much I like that one. I might have to fight him later because I wanted the Weekly Geek. But anyway, talking of Jeremy Hoffman, he is on the show, and because you assholes in the comment section decided to say, where's his Google Glass? Guess what he's wearing?
Glass. Well, we could start there. We were gonna start somewhere else.
Well,
but
hang on. I need to introduce John's here as well. John Santos.
No, we're jumping right in.
It's all about the glass.
It's all about
the glass.
No,
yeah,
sorry.
No, they want the glass.
You can't talk glass without saying ass.
Yes, yeah.
We'll get to the glass talk later.
Yes, we will. So, yes, so we're calling this Geek Talk this week. In next episode, we'll probably call it something totally different. Right. First of all, we are going to kick off with the most anticipated movies for the panel for the year, and we're going to go with Jeremy to start because Google Glass Boy, you have something that you want.
Because I prepped.
Because you prepped.
Let me go to my book, my prep book.
But it's a cool prep book, by the way. It's anybody who knows Beetlejuice.
Come on,
That's
Don't
awesome.
say it's a great book.
Awesome.
Be careful.
Great.
Yeah.
You've already said it once.
Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton's career has been revived.
Oh, if you say his name 3 times, they're gonna make a sequel that we don't want. That's a problem.
Well, they were talking about Beetlejuice in Love for the longest time as the proposed sequel. But,
yeah. Well, wasn't there like Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii as well? I think was one of the titles as well back in like the early '90s.
Yeah. Now they're talking about Beetlejuice Goes to Anaheim.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch that.
Hell on Earth. All right.
Well, speaking of Anaheim, how about we transition? That's actually a good transition. I thought we should talk a little bit so you guys kind of understand who we are and what we like, our anticipated films of the year. Mine is actually Saving Mr. Banks, which is the story of Walt Disney and P.L. Travers trying to make the Mary Poppins movie. Tom Hanks, Emma Thompson. I'm a huge Disney geek. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up with a annual pass to Disneyland. Just love the whole thing. There's also Tomorrowland, which they're teasing a little bit right now. So kind of a lot of Disney going on.
I've seen the stills, some of the stills from that. I got to say, Hanks looks creepily like Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, creepily. And look, I mean, I come from a totally different environment from you, but obviously Mary Poppins with, Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke and the worst ever Cockney accent.
Yep.
But I mean, that was a huge part of my childhood. It came up before I was born, but obviously, on TV every year. But yeah, it's interesting how I think, you got these two different SKUs. You, and please feel free to continue about the movie, but you have this, I love Disney, I grew up with it. Me, love some of the Disney stuff. Got kind of creeped out about it the more I learn of the backstory of Mr. Disney and some of the other things, especially the crap that was pulled in Florida for the Disney studios.
How they zoned for Disney World.
Well,
yeah,
continue.
I mean that's the thing, right? You're gonna have someone like Disney. Like I think that's the most interesting part for me, and I don't know because it's a Disney film how they're gonna get into it. But I feel like anytime you have someone that is so sure of their vision that they start kind of crossing that little bit crazy line. Yeah. And it was a strange environment, and having someone like P.L. Travers come in and work with Disney, like that wasn't a very female friendly environment. So it's gonna be
it wasn't friendly for a lot of
reasons, right? But it's and then this is that time when he was working with her, and then also working with Mary Blair, who's my favorite Disney artist. She worked on Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan. She's the reason we have It's a Small World. Maybe not the song, but she actually designed like the ride.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. I just wrote that like 2 weeks ago and finally got the song out of my head. So now it's back.
It's a virus.
But that's probably my most anticipated film just because it's always interesting to look at someone that, you grow up respecting and that has such a strong kind of hold of your childhood. And then seeing some of that behind the scenes stuff is really going to be interesting. Doesn't mean I'm not interested in some of the crazier, geekier sci-fi movies, but I think this is something that's going to be a little bit different, and I'm interested in the story.
Nice. Yeah. The trailer's actually pretty solid, so I'm looking forward to it. I do feel that it is going to be Disneyized.
Yeah,
they're gonna,
totally. I mean, right? It's like
yeah.
the problem with Disney making a movie about Disney,
Disney,
is
yeah.
it's going to be completely like
I wonder who the good guy's going to
vanilla
be.
it out, right? So we're going to see.
I'll wait for the HBO version.
I would love that.
John. So
Yes. Okay. So I'm actually going to I'm not going to talk too much about my actual choice because we're going to discuss it a little bit. So really quick, just some runner-ups: Inside Llewellyn Davis by the Coen Brothers, The Fifth Estate, which is the Julian Assange movie that's coming out, All Is Lost with Robert Redford, which is him at sea, Old Man in the Sea survival kind of movie that's supposed to be excellent. And of course, Wolf of Wall Street, the new Martin Scorsese flick coming out. So there's some great stuff coming out. But I really, really am looking forward to Gravity, the new Alfonso Cuarón flick, with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock floating around in space for 2 hours, maybe 2+ hours, trying to figure out if they're going to live or perish in the vacuum of eternity. We'll talk about the trailer, I guess, in a little bit here. But yeah, Cuarón is an amazing filmmaker to me. I think Children of Men was probably my favorite film of, what was it, 09, 08?
I love
And he made the best.
It's an amazing,
Harry
yeah.
Potter, right?
Yeah, oh, completely, yeah. And it was it Prisoner of Azkaban, right?
Yep.
Was his. And then he's also got a couple other films, Great Expectations and The Little Princess from even before that. But the guy's a fantastic filmmaker, does these beautifully long takes. And if you haven't seen Children of Men, there are 2 exquisite shots in that film that you must see to believe. One takes place in a car, one takes place through this war zone, and it's just insane. But Gravity itself has, I believe, 2 or 3 incredibly long takes in it as well. I believe it opens with something like they're touting that it's like a 20-minute long take or something like that. Single take, yeah. So, but yeah, really, outer space. George Clooney in outer space again,
where most of his ex-girlfriends want him.
It's a long list.
Yeah.
There's new one added today, I think, from what I just heard. So.
Oh, no, wait, is this the Keebler one? Oh,
No,
I'm not
you
getting
know,
into that.
He broke up with Keelan weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, was it weeks ago?
Yeah.
Where have you been? Oh, Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
All right, my turn. And I am going to, I mean, obviously I can understand the Disney thing and I can understand Gravity, but I'm going full comic book. And I am excited for the new Thor movie. And I got to say, I liked the original Thor movie. I thought it served a purpose. I thought it brought him into the Marvel Universe. I thought it brought the whole idea of gods and give us a nice take on Asgard. Anybody who can make the Rainbow Bridge work and not make it look like something from My Little Ponies on acid is fantastic. And then this new one, I mean, it kicks off set in London. It obviously moves to Asgard, and one of the things that has really appealed to me is the director's been talking about it, and he said that you saw big and shiny Asgard. This time it's like the underbelly. You get to see an side of Asgard that you rarely see even in the comic books.
You mean the Dark World?
It's the Dark World, but I mean there is the Dark World, but there is also this side of Asgard that is, this is where the people who make the clothes and serve it's almost like that Victorian era description, and it looks like that Natalie Portman is going to be used a lot more this time. It looks like we have this kind of love triangle with Sif. Where this is just coming from the trailer where you see the looks and somebody falls at the end. One of the things we do know is Loki doesn't die in this one, so that's discount that. Don't go and expect to see Loki dies, which is awesome because
can gods die though? Is it really expected to happen? And
Hiddleston's
if anyone
fantastic.
dies in these comic movies, they're coming back anyway. So.
Well, yeah, I've got my theory as to who will die, but no, I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, between this and the Winter Soldier, I mean, these sophomore efforts show a little bit more, and Winter Soldier, obviously, Robert Redford again, who is now back and doing lots of
he's
geeky stuff
out there, yeah.
But yeah, Thor is it's going to be a highlight for me come November. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest, we were talking about this a little pre-show, is my biggest issue with the first movie was Natalie Portman was just completely underutilized, and they didn't really work on that relationship at all. It was, she looks at him, he looks at her, now they're in love, and you're like, they could build,
it's a means to an end,
right?
I mean, perfect strangers or whatever.
Right. But it's like have that actress that's amazing, like let's actually use her for something, and it looks like they're actually going to use her more than just a plot point this time around.
I would also say if you're a fan of South Park, check out last year's Thanksgiving special where it's an fantastic piss take of Thor, and I like the way they use Natalie Portman. Okay, so yeah, moving on. Next topic. We're all urbanites here. We like our Carl Urban. I mean, he's done so much good stuff. I mean, Doom apart, but I mean, Lord of the Rings, he was fantastic in. I mean, obviously Star Trek, Dread, which is a huge favorite with this particular panel. And so let's talk about Carl Urban and Dread 2 and the Petition.
Yep. Yeah, I should admit I haven't seen all of Dread because I was watching it on a plane
In slow-mo.
in like the aisle seat, and I looked around and I was like halfway through the movie, I'm like, this is probably too much.
If it's on a plane, screw everybody else. Look, if the airline will put it on there.
Well, no. This is on my laptop. I brought it with
okay.
me. So, but I need to finish it. But what I saw was amazing. He's kind of a big name at Comic-Con this weekend with both Dread 2 or last weekend, and Almost Human. J.J. Abrams,
the
TV
new
show
show
that he's in.
Well, let's stick on Dread for a sec before we go to Almost Human. I saw Dread, and I mean, I was raised in 2000 AD. I mean, that was the it's like the one British comic that really catered to sci-fi, and you had 2000 AD. You had was it Strontium Dog was in there, Rogue Trooper was in there. I mean, all these characters that we'd expect to see in the cool American magazines. And then of course there was the Sylvester Stallone Dread,
Right.
which made me cry. And then this
Because
was the
it was
Dread
amazing.
we wanted.
You were so happy.
Tears of joy.
Because I wanted to rip my eyes out. But no, let's talk about this version of Dread. I mean, a lot of people said it was a rehash of the Raid Redemption. And I can see there was obviously that heavy influence.
But see, I don't think that. I mean,
I don't
coincidence,
think so.
pure
Yeah,
coincidence.
They
But
were,
actually, I
made
mean,
at
I
the
don't have
same-
a problem with
almost
that.
the same
No,
time.
not at all.
right?
Not at all. Yeah, they must have been shot near the same time.
Yeah.
I really don't have a problem with it because I think it worked. I thought, Mega City 1, I mean, it was a low-budget Mega City 1, but
Yeah.
I could certainly understand it. The Megaplexes I thought looked cool.
Oh, fantastic!
The introduction of the side judges, I thought they ticked all the boxes. And the fact that, Urban has the jawline, and, we talked about could Urban be Bruce Wayne? That's popped up again this week. But Dread 2, I mean, it bombed at the theater, unfortunately. I mean, I want to see it first.
I think it's part of it's because you're calling it Dread 2.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Dread.
Oh,
I mean, the first
yeah.
Dread bombed at the theater because, I went there first weekend with some friends and
Nobody.
we loved it.
Yeah.
The effects, how they included the slow-mo. I mean,
Yep.
so again, another thing for you to go do. If you have not seen Dread yet, and I'm not talking about Stallone, go rent this. Go get it on video on demand, rent the Blu-ray, rent the DVD, whatever you need to do, because that's what's the popularity of the Blu-ray digital, on-demand downloads. That's what's pushing.
That's what's helping.
The chance of a sequel, and Carl Urban's really behind it. And look, I want them to see, show us Judge Death.
Yeah.
I want to see Death.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not familiar with some of the the 2000 AD stuff, I mean, I definitely go and look up some of the trade paperbacks. But let's talk about Almost Human, not to be confused with Being Human, which was obviously that brilliant BBC supernatural series
That got remade, right?
And it's still on in
US,
America,
yeah.
correct? It's still on the Sci-Fi Channel here, I
Well,
believe.
actually, we're on the last season on BBC America now, and the Devils come to call. But yes, let's talk about that, and let's talk about Carl Urban again. So.
Yeah, I think it's J.J. Abrams' new show.
Yeah, very science fiction. A lot of money it looks like being spent on the pilot.
I'm
at least.
always
I would say an arm and a
interested.
leg.
Hey-o. That's horrible.
Oh, come on. He's got a cybernetic leg. Come on.
You know I'm all about cyborgs. So, yeah, I think
You
it's
threw
one of
half
those-
one yourself already.
so
Yeah,
close.
RoboCop.
Shh, you're not supposed to tell.
The
No,
tension
but
between
Almost
you two
Human,
is
it's getting
killing
like
me.
really mixed reviews. I think we're all big J.J. Abrams fans
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
so I'm interested.
I think, I mean,
And I'm interested more because it's Carl Urban. You're like, great, put him on TV. Let's get,
yeah, Carl Urban is always worth checking out. It's I was trying to think of when I first saw the trailer for it, the Isaac Asimov series Caves of Steel. Did you ever read those about the folks, the humans living kind of underground, robots up top? A robot cop and a human cop have to team up to solve a murder mystery, and there was actually a trilogy of them, I believe. There was that. It really reeked of that to me, not in a bad way. Actually, I think it's got a lot of potential to it, especially when you really who is almost human in the it's Carl Urban. His heart's just black. He has no
so
emotions.
hunky.
He's hunky but he's hunky in like this is horrible. He's hunky in like that kind of almost classic Bogart way. You know what I mean? He doesn't have. It's not like the chiseled good looks in the same.
My wife would disagree.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, she is like, she will go to see. I mean, she went to see Dread with me because of Urban. I said he doesn't take his helmet off. I don't care.
Really?
Just the jawline. That's
It's
enough.
all the jawline.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I liked whoever played his sidekick in the film.
So,
She
I
was
mean,
fantastic.
So go tweet, go fill out petitions, and let's
Yeah.
get Dread
Right.
2.
Dread 2. We want Dread 2. And watch Dread 1, for God's sake. Next up, big movie trailers. There have been a few this week. Some surprisingly cool. Some WT and indeed F. Let's talk about WTF first of all. And Jeremy, your particular discovery that you.
Oh,
you
this
you
is all.
showed me.
Please, this is so. Our film expert in the office is John.
Oh, dear.
Okay,
I go
well,
by his
Jeremy, you
office
showed
every
me, so,
morning.
John, you've infected him and
Yeah.
infected me.
It's awesome. I don't know
Well,
what you're
what is
talking
it?
about.
We're
Okay,
talking
the fir-
about Mr. Go.
It's a Korean film entitled Mr. Go.
in 3D.
In 3D. Oh, yeah, of course. It's got to be 3D. And it is about a giant gorilla, like Mighty Joe Young-sized gorilla that works at a circus. Somehow, because there are no subtitles on the trailer, is enlisted to play baseball. And
Like you do.
He's
because,
got like a
you
young
would with any gorilla.
teenage girl.
He's got a little girl that's been
trainer.
raised with him, yeah, and so the circus somehow goes kaput. It looks like he's picked up, he's bought by some industrialist who also owns a baseball team and says, basically let's put him on the team because I've seen him swing a bat, and he's a home run hitter. He can pitch. He can go, absolutely crazy and freak people out. And he's chased by helicopters in it. It's Korean cinema is at its peak, and we are witnessing it at this moment with Mr. Go.
So let me throw something out
Fuck
there.
old boy,
How
Mr. Go.
how come Mr. Go gets a pass and nobody was into MVP, most valuable primate?
Wait, okay. First off, I missed it.
Yeah. Hold on. Is that on Netflix
I
streaming?
was busy watching Airbud, apparently.
Well, it's in the Airbud vein. But yeah, I mean, this honestly seems. I mean, the only thing is missing from this trailer for me is Matt LeBlanc.
Exactly, yeah, Ed or whatever that movie was called
Yeah.
with the pitching monkey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, monkey movies itself are their own genre, and monkeys playing sports are always a blast. But this is like a giant,
It's like it looks
silverback
like
gorilla thing.
yeah,
It's
King
awesome.
Kong
yeah.
meets
It's definitely
Mighty
Mighty
Joe
it's
Young.
more Mighty Joe Young meets
Field
the
of
Major
Natural.
League.
Yeah.
like a dash of Field of Dreams.
maybe Tom Selleck in there in his role as Mr. Baseball.
Mr. Baseball. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crappy movies that are on when you've got insomnia and you get to watch them.
Yeah.
It
So-
just if you haven't seen that trailer, go watch
Go
it.
watch it,
It's
yeah.
definitely one of those gems this week.
Mr. Go,
that,
Mr. Go's worth a peek.
It's been going around our office all morning.
If you're not going to see the movie, at least watch the trailer because
Yeah. Let's talk about Gravity.
Let's talk about Gravity.
Trailer 2, which is a continuation or a mini sequel to Trailer 1.
Yeah.
I saw Trailer 1 before actually. I was going to say Plants vs Zombies. I was going to say Pacific Rim, and I saw it in 3D, and I
Right.
got to say it gave me a headache. And I'm so. I don't know about this movie.
Are you that way with 3D a lot, or is it just?
Well,
was
yeah,
it just
3D in general, but I mean this movie. I like Clooney,
right?
Bullock. I can take her or leave her,
Okay.
and I mean I love Alfonso's stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he can get performances out of them, but I'm really quite nervous about this movie. The two of them for 2 hours, dangling.
That's the thing. Like I don't know what the
can't wait.
movie is about because it can't just be
Lost in space for 2 hours, kind of chatting about life.
Another Matt LeBlanc
I don't know.
classic.
Maybe like
Oh.
it's got me hooked.
You know,
I've
I'm
gone
giving you the Matt LeBlanc box set Blu-rays for Christmas now, right?
Who says I haven't already got
Oh
them?
shit!
How you doing?
Oh no!
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that like I've at this point after the first trailer went completely dark on it. I don't
Right.
want to see any more because I'm curious enough and excited enough that I'm just gonna go see it.
Right. Yeah. The second trailer is more of an extension of the first trailer in a way. It's the same events taking place, but it's expanded, and the second trailer does something that that kind of bothered me a little bit about the first trailer. The first trailer had sound effects, so in space you're hearing crashes, bangs, and stuff like that. The second trailer relies only on music, so anytime something hits, all of a sudden something just explodes. It comes out of nowhere, and so you don't get that like pre-crash noise to kind of warn you
Didn't
that something's about to happen.
The trailer editor realize that in space nobody can hear you scream?
Apparently not. He's Spanish. He doesn't know.
Not
No.
in this franchise.
Yeah, and I don't know. Even in the film, I'm really curious how pumped up the music is going to be. Like, I would be fascinated if it's just almost a dead silent sequence with all of this stuff going haywire around you, and it's this beautiful single take, and the Sandra Bullock character is out on the arm on the little shuttle arm when everything goes haywire and the camera spins around her and Clooney's trying to get to her and then she starts spinning and he's like you gotta track on something or I'm gonna lose you and poof, off she goes into space.
Which a lot of people who've seen Heat would have probably. Or was it
I
The
heard that
Heat?
was
I
good.
like
I
Heat.
heard it was
It's
good.
too long. It's fatty like a bunch of the comedies are these days. It needs to be in an hour and a half, but the Heat actually has a lot of very
Now I'm
entertaining stuff in
actually
it.
changing my rant for later.
Well,
Okay.
it's actually going to be interesting to see if she. And Clooney as well, because Clooney has tried to do the more serious movies. Bullock, does she have? Yes, she won an Oscar for The Blind Side.
Yeah.
But The Blind Side was kind of saccharine.
It was Oscar bait.
vanilla-ware.
Yeah, it was real
Does
Oscar
she
bait.
have the chops to be able to pull this off? And I'd be interested to see that. Like I said, I've got nothing against her. I think she's made some dodgy ass choices, and I'm not a big fan of her nose jobs because I think she's gone from pixie-like cute to kind of like Nicole Kidman's creepy sister.
Sharp, right?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
So yeah, there's that. All right. So Gravity, I'm still on the fence. You have 4 months, I think. To
October. Is it October 4th? October 4th.
Three,
Yep.
So,
three
yeah,
months to
coming
convince me.
soon.
And then
The next movie, however,
is one of
this
Sandra
trailer.
Bullock's friends, right?
Well,
Her old speed partner.
So let's. We're going to talk about the 47 Ronin, which has been in development since 1947. Apparently, I remember seeing Keanu Reeves on a British chat show about 4 years ago, where he was, I'm in town, I'm filming the 47 Ronin. He was pimping another project at the time, but this has been in. I thought this movie had died. I thought it had gone off somewhere else,
It feels
curled
like
up
it
in a
has
ball,
in a weird way.
and then boom, this trailer comes out, and I gotta say the trailer's really quite exciting.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I tweeted about it earlier this week, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it looks like ass," and you didn't like Superman. You like this? Somebody actually told me I had a bad taste in movies because I didn't like Superman, and I like this one because the special effects look crap in this one.
People are so angry that
apparently.
I don't like Man of Steel, and
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
driving me
I'm
nuts.
getting some of that too. But yeah, let's talk about the 47 Ronin. Keanu Reeves with a sword that can split fire, ladies who turn into big green snakes.
Yeah.
47 Ronins chopping shit up.
Well, and you were saying this morning what this movie's been.
It's a classic Japanese story that was I believe it's actually a true story, and it has been filmed 192 times in Japan or something like that. I believe it's been silent movies, it's been miniseries on television there, just tons and tons of times it's been shot. The most famous was a Kenji Mizoguchi film from I believe the 40s. But yeah, it's a well-worn story that has now been given a very supernatural twist this time around.
Yeah, I love the idea of the supernatural stuff coming in there.
That was a big surprise for me actually. I was kind of excited when I saw that.
Yeah, I was kind of bracing myself for a remake of was it the Tom Cruise one where he's the samurai?
Oh, Last Samurai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that would be the last samurai film I
Yeah.
ever watch. Hey,
Hey.
thank you.
Oh, it looks like Last Samurai meets Matrix with colors. And I don't know if that's
snake women.
and I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing.
Yeah, we'll find out. Well, and again, like you said, it's a huge troubled production. A massively troubled production. There were tons of reshoots, there were rewrites. Apparently, this is all rumor. That the director was kicked out of the editing room and they brought somebody else in to finish it up. But I think as we've seen this summer, all these same stories we heard for World War Z, and
Yep.
it turned out to be a pleasantly watchable movie. So I'm waiting still. I will definitely give 47 Ronin a shot.